待たせたな、セイバー。約束通り、こうして迎えに来てやったぞ。
His voice sounds like it's sneering, haughty and merciless. I can feel no human emotion in his arrogance, nothing that has ever considered the opinions of others. My voice is shaking. The golden servant. The unknown heroic spirit who swept away the bone creature and even cast her herself without any difficulty. That monster is in front of us. He's so close to us. At a distance with which we could start fighting if we wanted to face a death greater than Berserker.
どうしたセイバー。俺がわざわざ出向いてやったのだ。いつまでも黙っているのは無礼であろう。それとも俺のものになる前に少しばかり遊ぶつもりか。しようよ。
Grosser. He's so gross. Archer stifles his laughter happily. His eyes aren't looking at me. He's only watching Saber. With his rude red eyes, he's looking at her as if evaluating a work of art. Saber's presence changes. She must have prepared herself. Unlike me, unable to move a finger, she's already glaring at the enemy servant.
シロ、何としても衝撃だけは防ぎます。その隙にあなただけが離脱してください。それがどれほど困難かは分かっていますが、あのサーバント相手ではそれが精一杯なのです。
Her back asks me to forgive her. Even Saber can only manage to block his first attack. Chance of success of retreating from a guy like this is low. Saber is asking for my forgiveness for that low chance. Probably. She knows she has no way to defeat that servant. She can't do that. This is different from when we fought Berserker. For some reason, I know making Saber fight the servant would be bad. No, I may know the reason. I felt it when I saw his noble phantasm last time. Saber will not be able to beat this man no matter what. It's not about skills as a swordsman. Before that, the prerequisites are wrong. As long as they are heroic spirits, no heroic spirit will be able to beat him.
違う。逃げるのはお前の方だ、セイバー。
シロ。
I cover Saber and face Archer.
ほう、そうか。マスターがいたのだったな。あまりのみすぼらしさゆえ、犬
I'd
か何
really
かだ
like
と
to
思っ
just
たぞ。
deck him in the face. He says happily. Whoa, what the fuck? The man raises his hand and slowly brings his fingers together. I feel sick. I'll be killed if I don't retreat now. There's no reason or logic behind it. I just feel instinctively that I'll be killed if I stay in front of him and...
行け、セイバー。ここからなら境界が近い。あいつなら、あれが相手でもお前をかくまってくれるはずだ。
push Saber away and run as if shaking off the premonition of death attacking. There's only one thing to do. I'll run up to him, project Saber's sword like when I fought Berserker, and... my body flies. What happened? The instant that man clicked his fingers, something appeared right beside me. I can tell it was a big hammer that I was smashed away, flying across the ground like trash. I can't move. I feel like all the bones in my body are broken. I can't feel my limbs. My pain is numbed, and I can't even tell if I'm alive or not.
殺しはせん。今ここで貴様を潰せばセイバーも消えてしまうからな。不本意ではあるが聖杯を呼ぶまでは生かしておいてやろう。
The man laughs. Move my hand to try to get up. My body won't move at all. My blood isn't flowing. Feels like the energy to move my body has stopped reaching my limbs.
だが思い上がるなよ雑種。貴様などいなくともサーバントを存命させる方法はある。単に今の状態が最も手がかからぬだけだ。それ以上さえずるのなら。
That kills my mind. He will kill me. If I move any more, he will do so without hesitation. How could anyone move after being told that?
シロ
Saber tries to run to me.
どこに行く？邪魔者はいなくなったのか。お前が向かうべきはそのようなクズではなかろう。
But the man won't allow that. He stands before me and waits for Saber to come to him. Saber stops and glares at the man. There's about 10 meters between them. At the distance, Saber would be able to close instantly, but
その様子ではまだ俺に下る気はないようだな。理解に苦しむ。お前ほどの英霊ならば俺に選ばれることがどれほどの価値か分かろうに。
よまいごと英霊になろうと私は王だ。貴様の軍門になどくだらぬ。
そうか。いかに王であろうとお前は女だ。
man, they
主の前に頭を垂れ仕え尽くすが女の幸せであろう。だというのに何を拒む。まさか物も分からぬ小娘でもあるまいし、俺の女になるのは恐ろしいか。
horrifying.
貴様
そう憤るな。俺は奪うだけではない。等しく喜びも与えよう。俺のものになるというのならば文字通りこの世の全てを与えてやる。誇るがいい。お前にはそれだけの価値があると認めたのだ。
Man moves. He opens his arms as if to accept the saber.
そう。守護者になどなることもなく死にゆく運命に戻ることもない。もう一度だけ言うぞセイバー。このまま俺のものになれ。この世界で共に二度目の生を謳歌しようではないか。
断る。そのようなことに興味はないし、何より貴様と共に生きるなどまかり間違ってもありえません。
She does not nod or retreat. Saber looks at Archer head on. He stops. I don't know what's so funny, but the man starts laughing.
いいぞ。それでこそ俺の見込んだ女よ。はあ、この世に一つ程度は俺に従わぬ者がいなければな。よーし。では力ずくだ。聖杯を手に入れた後、その身に中身をぶちまけてやろう。喜べよセイバー。そうなればマスターなど不要となる。万能の器である聖杯、その力すべてを飲み干すのだからな。サーバントなどと人間の使い魔に甘んじることもなくなるだろう。
The man says so with satisfaction. To that, Saber replies,
アーチャー、貴様の目的は何だ？
she must have realized that fighting is the only way. Saber asked for an enemy's reason at the end, but man's answer is an unexpected one.
目的か？さあ何だったか。あいにくこの世の財は全て手に入れた身でな。望むものだととうにない。
聖杯を求めてはいないというのか？
聖杯？ああ、不老不死か。そんなものは蛇にくれてやった。
不老不死を蛇に譲った。
Saber's presence freezes. What was that conversation? Saber shakes her head and tries to deny the word.
だがこの世界は面白いぞ。根本は変わらぬが、装飾もここまで来れば別物だ。これならば再びこの世で君臨するのも悪くない。そうだな。俺の目的といえばそんなところか。それを効率よく進めるというのであらば、聖杯の力も悪くはないな。
支配欲か。見下げ果てたな、アーチャー。そんなことのために聖杯を欲するとは。
欲するのではない。世の財は全て我のもの。自分のものを他人に使われるのが我慢ならんだけよ。お前とてその政権を人に使われては腹立たしいだろう。騎士王よ。
Saber's body grows misty. After a brief flash, Saber's wearing her silver armor.
ほう。
The man does not even move. The next instant, Saber dashes forward. She runs up to the man instantly and slashes her invisible sword with deadly speed. Repelled, Saber jumps backward. If Saber's armor is materialized from magical energy, his armor must be the same as well. In short, the enemy has armed himself. Saber looks calmly at Archer, holding her sword ready. Even with her stare, the man does not stop smiling.
よいぞ。歯向かうことを許す、セイバー。
The enemy happily announces the beginning of the battle. The white light runs through the darkness. Saber, running up to the Golden Knight without hesitation, slashes her sword down, surrounded by lightning. 1 blow, 2, 3, 4. Each time Saber's sword finds the enemy, blinding light is released. Combinations like a strobe. It's just like when I first saw Saber when she fought Lancer. Saber drives magical energy into her sword and strikes with it like lightning. The sword and armor clash. The man hasn't even drawn his weapon yet. With Saber's sword in front of him, he is just protecting his head with his hands. The man does not have the skill to block Saber's sword. Saber is much better than this man at sword techniques. And on top of that, Saber's sword is invisible. Even if the man had a weapon, I don't think he would be able to block the invisible sword. The invisible sword keeps hitting the man's armor. The sword smashes against the armor, shaves it, letting it off lightning sparks. All the man can do is protect his head with his hands. This isn't even a match. This is just one-sided elimination, but still the golden armor retains its shape. If the armor is free of damage, even taking Saber's attack so many times, could it be that his noble phantasm is his golden armor?
さすがにこれ以上はまずいか。相変わらず底なしの魔力よな。俺の鎧がきしみを上げるなど、そうあり得ることではないのだが。
The enemy who was merely defending raises his arm. Not towards Saber. Do not know why, but the man raises his hand to the night sky and
戯れは終わりだ。その身、ここで俺に捧げるがいい。
is it an illusion? In his hand, a short sword, like a key in his hand. Saber attacks with all her power, but the enemy repels it with his dark red sword.
今のは復讐の呪詛を含んだ宝具か。
Saber distances herself and glares at the sword in her enemy's hand. The fact that the enemy has revealed his weapon is a threat, but at the same time, it means that the enemy's attacks are revealed. Doesn't matter if his noble phantasm is a sword or armor, as long as you can see it, you can be able to deal with it. Saber readies herself. The man said his armor is at its limit. If Saber relaunches her fierce barrage of attacks, she should be able to slash him through his armor. Even if he has brought out his noble phantasm, it won't make a difference to the fact that the next blow will decide the match.
最後だ。前回つけられなかった決着をつけよう。アーチャー。
The sword in her hands is still invisible. Readying the holy sword sealed in wind, Saber stares at her enemy. It seems Saber knows what that noble phantasm is. That's why she intentionally distanced herself, and since she knows how to deal with it, she's confronting the enemy straight on. Their noble phantasms are swords. If the sword's abilities are equal, the deciding factor will be their own sword techniques. By that theory, Saber has to win.
よかろう。では来るがいいセイバー。その剣に免じ、俺のすべてを見せてやる。
The man laughs.
ならば。
Saber charges without hesitation. Saber's sword will slash his armor for sure. The instant I think that,
ゲート・オブ・バビロン。
an invisible door opens behind the man. Saber's body stops. The weapons the enemy takes are different from the previous dark red sword. First, an invisible sword like Saber's. As soon as Saber defends against it, the man is holding yet another sword. The sword is of ice. She twists her body to avoid it, but the space the sword goes through freezes. Saber retreats covered in ice. As the ice starts to break, the enemy holds a sickle-like weapon. She instantly tries to block the weapon approaching her neck with her gauntlet, but it's useless. The sickle goes through her arm like the gauntlet isn't there and takes away her magical energy, as if cutting away her bone, not her flesh or blood. Saber totters but manages to stay standing. It is a different kind of retreat now. Not to distance herself and prepare for the next attack. It's a desperate retreat just to get away from the enemy.
そんなバカな。
Saber glares at the enemy, drawing magical energy into her arm. Many handles are floating around the man. That's what slaughtered Castor. And those are the noble phantasms of the Golden Knight who cornered Saber. Jesus Christ. The scene that makes even me want to doubt my own eyes. Those handles floating behind him are surely those of noble phantasms. Not just 10 or 20. Not even though I... No, even though I can't see them, I can feel that there are infinite, from all times and places. As if to say that servant has all the divine mysteries from every legend.
アーチャー、あなたは何者だ？
Saber's voice is trembling. The servant will not answer when they're asked their true identity. But the enemy noble phantasm is so strange that Saber has to ask.
答えなさい、アーチャー。英霊が持つ宝具は一つだけのはず。いえ、中には複数の宝具を持っている者もいますが、だとしても二つが限度だ。そのように際限なく宝具を持つ英霊など存在するはずがない。
存在するはずがない？それは早計だな、セイバー。英霊は生前持ち得た武器を宝具とする。ならば単純な話ではないか。この宝具は全て俺が生前に集めたものということではないか。
私を侮っているのか、アーチャー。それこそ絶対にありえない。あなたが何者であろうと、他の英霊たちのシンボルたる宝具を揃えられるはずがない。そのような英霊はこの世界に存在しない。
Saber's right. All the noble phantasms he has are real. They're demonic swords from Northern Europe and demonic swords from South America. No hero made his name in so many different places. And first of all, only Lancer has Gable. Heroic spirits and noble phantasms are the weapons they had when they were alive. By that rule, as soon as he has Gable, he has to be Chuchulain. But he isn't Chuchulain. So the lance cannot be Gable. But the thing is, that is definitely the real Guy Bolt. I'll go with that. This could be all explained if it was a fake, but as long as it's real, this contradiction is, no, hold on, original. The model of weapon. Is it possible? Myths and legends do not start from nothing. All myths, hey, here you go. All myths have common points because a single foundation became their model. Because legends that become objects of faith are only those that originate in that land. I think demonic swords and holy swords started having special abilities around that time. So before that, what if the noble phantasms and myths and legends had a form before they were given names?
おお、お前のマスターも捨てたものではないな。どうやら俺の正体に心当たりがあるらしい。
Saber looks towards me, so far away. I can't even help her if she's so far away. My body is only recovered to the point where I can barely move my fingers.
逃げろ、セイバー。そいつ、宝具は
本物だというのだろう。そう、単純な話だ、セイブ。最も古い時代、まだ世界が一つだった頃の話をしよう。その国は栄え、王はあらゆる財宝を収集した。集められぬものなどなく、足りぬものなどなかった。王は完璧な宝物庫を持ち、その中にある無造無造の武器は使われることなく王と共に眠りについた。要はそれだけの話だ。王の死後、宝物庫の中身は世界に散らばり、名剣であるがゆえに重宝され活躍し、いずれ宝具として扱われた。
Well, that's an interesting way to put it. This is kind of what I was talking about during Night 13 when I said that the Golden Archer was a original myth. It just seems they're taking it more literally this way by saying instead of the myth being passed down from person to person, it's the literal weapons from that myth.
わかるか、騎士王よ。 お前たちの扱う宝具とやらはもともとはその王の持ち物に過ぎないのだ。
It's like inheritance. If you go back far enough, a model must exist. So it's only natural for every legend, myth, folklore, and noble phantasm to have an original model. And in the distant past, if it was possible to collect all of their models, then one could possess all of the noble phantasms. Only one hero could correspond to that. One with origins in a legend far older than that of King Arthur or Hercules. One said to rule over ancient Mesopotamia. The half-god, half-human king who collected treasures as he wished and sought immortality at the end, his name was...
ギルガメシュ。人類最古の英雄王。
Well, there you go. I'm very glad I don't have to keep saying random assortments of Golden Archer, Golden Boy, Golden Man. It's Gilgamesh. The Golden Knight Gilgamesh accepts the shock with satisfaction.
いかにもこの身は貴様らでは叶うべくもない最強の英霊だ。
And the Golden Knight moves forward. There's nothing else to talk about. All that remains is for him to use his many noble phantasms to defeat his enemy.
ほう、我の名を知った上でまだ抗うか。今度こそ勝ち目がないと悟ったはずだが。
やってみなければわかりません。いかに英雄王といえど超えられぬものがあるはずだ。
Saber's surroundings waver. The wind starts to twirl and become a raging gale to protect him. At the same time, the golden sword appears.
ダメだサイバー
It can't be. Saber's going to use Excalibur here? Gilgamesh stops. He too must know the Holy Sword's power as his composure vanishes. Saber keeps staring at Gilgamesh and looks in my direction for an instant. Is she telling me to run? Gilgamesh has his back to the river, and Saber is over here. It must have been when she attacked him earlier. Before I realize it, Saber is confronting Gilgamesh to protect me.
違うダメだこんなところで
I pour strength into my limbs. Even if I try to move my numb body, all I can move is one of my arms. But I still collect all the magical energy in my body to raise my body with that one arm. My senses were gone, but every bone in my body starts to scream once I start moving. The pain is a warning. The pain is telling me I will break if I move any further. I ignore it and raise my body. I bear my pain. I don't have time to deal with it. I have to get up quickly and protect Saber, because I have a bad feeling about this. A premonition when I face that enemy. She will never be able to beat him. This instinctive feeling that I should never let Saber fight him won't go away.
音に聞こえし聖剣か。いいだろう。
The twirling wind is now a raging storm. Even with the holy sword shining in front of him, the Golden Knight does not back away. Moreover,
では、こちらもふさわしいものを出さなければな。
he pulls an incongruous sword from the gate behind him. That's the cause of my bad feeling. That sword does not appear in any legend. I could identify every one of the noble phantasms that were floating behind him, but even I cannot tell what that sword is.
俺は全ての宝具の原型を持つ。 だがそれらは全て無名であり、俺しか持ち得ぬ武具というわけではない。
A cylindrical sword. The sword is made of 3 parts. Each part is turning slowly in different directions. It looks like a rock drill to pierce through a hard surface.
だがこれは違う。正真正銘、この英雄王しか持ち得ぬ剣だ。名などないのでな。俺はエアとだけ呼んでいるが。
純粋に宝具の力比べをすると。
The light concentrates. There's only about 10 meters between them. Within that distance, Gilgamesh shouldn't even be able to dodge or attack.
そうだ。なに、遠慮することはないぞ。最強と呼ばれるその剣。一度味わってみたくもあったからな。
His laughter echoes through the park. She must consider that provocation.
いいだろう。ならば我が剣、見事受け切ってみるがいい。
Saber sword moved. Her lips moved to say its true name. There's nowhere to run now. The noble phantasm, relieved with its true name, will smash all of its power onto Gilgamesh.
出番だ。起きるがいい、エア。
The cylindrical sword, Ea roars. Okay. In response to Gilgamesh's words, the 3 blades turn into a whirling sound. If Saber's Excalibur brings on a whirlwind by releasing the wind, Gilgamesh's Ea creates a storm by swallowing the surrounding winds. Saber is more experienced with anti-castle noble phantasms. It is faster than Ea's roar. Saber pours magical energy into the sword up to its limit. In a matter of seconds, execute it with the greatest power. Well, there we go. There's no hesitation. Saber releases the holy sword that can even split a river in 2. Just before that, a light of the same magnitude takes on Excalibur's light. A huge impact. The raging wind knocks over trees, and the crashing lights become an exploding sun, burning my eyes. My body is almost blown away by the wind. I manage to dig myself into the ground with one hand and endure the waves of light and heat. How long will this conflict last? The battles of the 2 rumbling make me fear the earth is going to split in 2. Suddenly ended with her figure surrounded by a white light. A crash. I hear something falling right beside me. God, what is it? I can tell even with my blinded eyes. Jesus Christ. I thought she might be dead. That's how torn up Saber is. Oh. In the distance, the Golden Knight is laughing crazily, unscathed.
人類最強の聖剣とやらもその程度か。人間の幻想など、所詮子供魂よな。
His laugh is high-pitched, and it seems like it will carry over the burning air into the heavens. Is it that much fun? He doesn't even look at Saber as he laughs only for his own sake.
Saber!
Ooh, look, a status update. Oh, so that's what Gilgamesh meant when he said he gave immortality to a snake. Wait a minute! Fate Stay Night, do we really need to have our status update in the middle of both our protagonists bleeding out on the floor. Feels like there are more important things going on right now. Anyway, there's no reply, but blood gushes out from her mouth as she tries to gasp. My vision turns red. What was I doing? I knew this was going to happen. I knew Saber wouldn't be able to beat Gilgamesh. So why didn't I stop her? Or even use my command spell?
しかし味気ない。完全にこちらの圧勝か。相殺することもできぬとは。拍子抜けだぞ、セイバー。ああ、そうか。少しは手加減してやるべきだった。何しろ相手は女子供だったのだ。
His irritating laugh. The responsibility is mine. I thought she could win. No matter how bad it felt, I thought Saber's Excalibur would be able to beat him. That's why, even though I told her to stop, my command spell didn't react. I wasn't serious. If I really wanted to protect Saber, I could have made her run away using my command spell, and there would have been infinite ways for me to fight by myself.
さて、ではいただくとするか。汚れてしまったが。何？いずれ同じ目に遭うのだ。ここで傷つこうと問題はあるまいよ。
The laughter it approaches. She must have noticed that as Saber faintly opens her eyes.
セイバー、無事か。
I can see her breathing, but I can't touch her even if I reach out. My body still won't move. I can't even run to her. So I can only call out to her.
セイバー、セイバー、セイバー。
Saber's mouth opens. She breathes in as if asking for help and coughs as if even that is painful.
シロ、そこにいるのですか？
Man, she raises a faint voice telling me she cannot see me.
待ってろ、すぐに。
I can't say I'll help her. I'm on the ground too. I can only move my arms. I can only call out to her and encourage her. She can't even see me in this ugly state.
ああ、そうか。負けたのですね。私は。
She speaks in a soft voice and looks at me with no light in her eyes.
申し訳ありません。どうか、あなただけでも逃げてください。
She says something absurd while coughing up blood. My vision turns red with anger. I completely depended on Saber unconsciously, and this is the result. I can't even stand up after a sudden attack. I grab my head with the only arm that moves. I want to kill myself, so I put strength into my hand so I can squash my head. A firing hammer goes down. I take the switch to turn myself into a magus and smash it with a hammer instead of my finger.
二度と使わないようにね。投影はあんたの手に余るから。
Tasaka's words. She says magic beyond one's level will turn the caster into a cripple. So what? She's more important than that. If I can't protect her, I don't need my body. She has helped me many times. There never has been anyone I cared so much about. So, if I can't protect her, Miyashiro can just die here. I can hear sounds of metal. Metallic, magical energy reinforces all my bones and my body and all the broken parts of my body. I give it everything I have. I'll put it in the highest gear, in the highest rotation from the start, ignoring my limits, and I'll create as much magical energy as possible. My spine catches fire and my whole body grows red hot. I bite my tongue to bear the feeling of my brain melting. I bite down on the pink flesh. If I can keep my consciousness just by making a hole in my tongue, There's no problem.
何？
The footsteps stop. His laughter stops as well.
シロ何をしているのです。ダメだ。そんなことをしたら体が。
She must feel it even though she can't see. Saber screams, trying to get back up. That makes my last powers turn on. I stand back up. The body that wouldn't obey me starts to move because of the magical energy poured in past its limits. This is like setting my body on fire to make it run towards the water. But I don't care. It's better than watching Saber get hurt. That's right. Finally realize what, with a mind about to burn away from the beginning, I swore to hold the sword because I didn't want to see her hurt.
逃げてと言っているのに、どうして。
I obstruct the enemy. Saber is behind me. Now, I cannot even take one step backwards.
トレス。
I hold my brain down my brain, which is rolling around on fire, and manage my mind. I'm imaging only one thing. I'll divide the projection into 8 sections to create the lost sword. I feel something hard in my left hand. I don't even need to check. The second manufacturer of sword proved successful without slowing down even once.
私の剣。いえ、それでもダメだ。シロも分かっているはずです。それでは彼には勝てないと。動けるのなら、今は逃げるのが。
逃げない。セイバーを迎えに来たんだ。なのに一人で帰ることなんてできるもんか。
I ready my sword. I hold the sword heavier than a shinai and glare at the enemy.
やめてシロ。この男はそんな。
I shake off Saber's words and step forward. There's 4 meters between us. If I step forward with all my might, I'll be able to attack him. The enemy doesn't move. Gilgamesh watches me for a second, then laughs.
殺すか？
He says it in an emotionless voice. I instantly block the attack swung at me. I sway my body to the side to avoid the attack. But I'm not fast enough. The first attack was a sudden gust. The next barrage of attacks is a raging wind. Parrying is all I can do. No, I wouldn't even have been able to block the first attack by myself. It's fortunate that I also reproduced its memory when I reproduced the sword. A sword with a long past holds will and experience. This sword must already be familiar with such attacks. I can't judge Gilgamesh's attack, but this sword is able to. So the sword reacts to his attack before my hands do. I swing to follow the sword. As a result, I can block his attacks. But that doesn't last long. My fingers numb every time I swing, and slowly I cannot catch up with the sword.
雑種。見苦しいにも程がある。
He must dislike even the slight resistance. He glares at me in anger and retreats a bit. Thank God. If he had kept attacking me, I would not have lasted more than a few seconds. Take a deep breath and try to control my breathing. And then,
薄汚い偽物め。それほどそれが気に入ったのならば、本物を見せてやろう。
he takes out a sword. That is a familiar sword. The ornamentation of it is different, but its true nature The idea of its creation and its soul are too close to those of this sword.
まさかこの剣の原型。
そうだ。だが宝具としての精度は比べるまでもないぞ。お前が持つ王を選定する岩に刺さった剣は北欧に伝わる支配を与える木に刺さった剣が流れたものだが、これはその原型。王を選定するという政権の大元だ。
The sword of supremacy in the tree. Gram, the demonic sword of Sigmund, hero of Northern Europe. It's the original model.
子は親には勝てん。剣輪を続けるごとに劣化する複製は原型にはかなわぬということだ。
Light runs. The sword understands better than anything that this is the same attack that terminated Berserker in one slash. It must be protecting its owner. The sword in my hand goes for the enemy sword with utmost power. The name of the noble phantasm, Caliburn, golden sword of assured victory, but is destroyed without a trace by the sword called Merodach. I hear something sliding on the ground. Sliding. Is the ground of the park slippery because it's level? I slide across the ground, finally come to a stop.
白白白
Voice makes me realize I'm still alive.
なんだセイバー、割と近くに。
Thinking so, I'm relieved. Felt like I was blown away, but it's fine if Saber's nearby. So all I have to do is get up and run to Saber. Okay. I look at my arm while I stay on the ground. It's red. My arm is surrounded by a red membrane. There's no blood coming out of it.
動くな。もういいから動かないでくれ。白
I can hear Saber's voice. It seems my body has been injured. He had an attack. Sure, I was blown away by Gilgamesh's sword. So the wound must be... Oh, I see. Now I understand why Saber's acting like that. I can only move my right hand. My left hand won't move. First of all, my left shoulder isn't attached to my body. I can't even breathe. Diagonally down from my left shoulder, my body is cut from shoulder down. It's separated like a Lego piece. Lego pieces that don't fit together. It looks like a ginkgo leaf. I've been cut from my shoulder down to my waist. It's strange that I'm alive, but that's a miracle that should soon run out. I'm barely conscious right now. My vision narrows by the second. First of all, my insides will fall out if I move. Maybe I'm already dead and my mind is lingering like a ghost.
なんだ、見事に散らばったと思ったが存外にしぶといのだな。なるほど、生き汚さだけが雑種の取り柄というわけか。
He laughs. Honestly, I'm thankful. The more irritating he is, the more my mind stays conscious.
だがそこまでだ。貴様に獅子は似合わん。その女は俺がもらう。
Footsteps. The sound of him walking to obtain Saber for sure this time. No. No. Fuck him. I put power in my right hand. I grab the ground, raise my half-sliced body. I see Saber's face for an instant. She looks like she's about to cry. I'm proud of myself for falling in love with her.
終わっていない。
I raise my body with just one arm. My legs won't move. The magical energy that forced my body to move has depleted. The only thing remaining is my beating heart and my organs screaming in pain.
ほう、未練か。だろうな。あれはお前には過ぎた宝だ。その気持ちはわからんでもない。ならばこそ他の男の手に奪われるのは悔しかろう。
That does it. I can't stand his talking anymore.
だから、奪うとか、奪われるとか、セイバーを物みたいに。
I put power into my right arm. Is there metal in it? Like a creaking noise, my body reacts to my wishes. I get up on one knee.
言うこと。
I put power into my body. As I do so, the thing I need to live flows out.
なぜもう無理だとどうしてわからないのです。
Saber's voice is almost insulting. She's a long way away. From a distant place, she's watching me in vexation. I ignore it and keep trying. Saber's voice is just a burden. Not my body nor Gilgamesh, but Saber is my greatest enemy now. Because if she objects with an expression like that, my mind will die. Finally, my knee finally has strength, so all that's left to do is to stand.
いらない。あなたの助けなどいりません。敗北した以上、私はすでにあなたの剣ではないんです。このまま消えるのがサーバントとして当然の結末ではないですか。
Saber's voice. Damn. If she interrupts me anymore, I'll get mad even at her.
やだ、やめてください、シロ。それ以上はダメだ。本当に死んでしまう。こんなことであなたに死なれたら私は。
How can she say such selfish things without knowing how I feel?
うるさい。いいから少しは黙ってろ。こういう時くらい頼っていいんだよ。お前は。
それは違う、シロ。優先順位を間違えないでほしい。私の身などどうでもいい。そんなものよりあなたは自身の命を第一にするべきだ。
She sounds like she's begging. My mind almost collapses, thinking that I'm making her sound like that. But still,
断る。俺にはセイバー以上に欲しいものなんてない。
I can't accept her words. Saber looks at me in astonishment. I don't know why she looks like that, but I remember she told me I was a fool who didn't know the value of his own life. I think she's right. It's too conceited for someone who can't even think about himself to try to help someone else. That's just complacent happiness, and it's an unstable happiness for the other party. The most important person is yourself. That kind of person probably can become happy and share their happiness.
俺は確かに自分の命を感情に入れてない大バカだ。
I was wrong about what's most important for me. Since that day, that seat has been empty. But I'm grateful for that abnormality, because in that empty seat is sitting a person I want to save from the bottom of my heart.
けどな、セイバー。もし俺が自分の命が一番大事だったとしても変わらない。きっとそれ以上にセイバーは綺麗なんだ。お前に変わるものなんて俺の中には一つもない。
That makes me realize I didn't feel sympathy for her. Girl I saw in my dream, she fought alone and died alone. I thought she was unrewarded, but at the same time, I was charmed by her. I just thought she was beautiful. She pulled out the sword and ran through her life without looking back. Her life itself was so brilliant.
そうだ。だから
So I have to protect her. So that you, all alone, won't be engulfed in darkness in your last moments. That's right. So that in your last moments, on the verge of your death, so that you can be proud of your life. My doubts disappear. My path is so clear.
ごめんな。俺、セイバーが一番好きだ。だから、あんな奴にお前は渡さない。
After I say that, I regret apologizing to her. But I had to say it. I wanted to say it now, at this moment, because there would be no impurities mixed in my words. I hear her gasp. I wanted to turn around and see, but I won't since I can't really see anymore. I get up. I can still fight in my heart if my heart is beating. My magical energy is my life. As long as my heart is beating, I'll keep on recreating her sword.
よく立った。で、その後は何があるのだ？
I feel a burning heat on my right hand. Perhaps because I'm close to death, I remember 10 years ago. It's a terrible illusion. My body feels like it's still on fire, reaching out for life.
うせろ。お前にセイバーは任せられない。
Raise my right hand and say that.
たわけ。誰が貴様の許しを得るか？
Yeah, you don't seem like a big fan of consent. And he raises his sword.
シロシロ
I hear Saber's voice from behind me. I ignore it and use my remaining magical energy. I project the sword once more. And I'm stopped by the light. Even though it's not as strong as Excalibur, the light that can burn away everything it touches is coming for me. Feeling the heat on my body, I don't think about my death, but about Saber behind me. She'll be dragged in like this, so I have to at least protect her. I said I'd protect Saber. Yes, I wanted to protect her. She's strong, but at the same time, she could have broken down at any moment, so I have to hold steady. She's like a drawn sword, so I have to help her so she doesn't get hurt. And then, before I realize it, there's something like a sword in my right hand. Whose voice was that? The hesitation is only for an instant. At the same moment, the Golden Knight, the absolute victor, retreats.
シロそれを
Saber takes my hand. The rising light stops. Right behind me is Saber. Right before me is Gilgamesh, opening his eyes and bleeding. What just happened? I don't know what happened. But I know this is a repeat of the battle against Berserker. Saber used something I made and defeated Gilgamesh's sword. A light pushed back his light and must have injured him, who was unscathed up until now. A frightening, murderous intent. It feels like he needs to kill everything he sees in order to calm down. But the Golden Knight leaves silently. I don't even have time to be surprised. I don't know why he left. But even my fading mind knows the battle is over. My knees give away. All the tension disappears and my body falls to the ground.
シロ
Saber instantly supports me. With Saber supporting me, I look down at my body. I let out a gasp. My wounds are so bad, they cannot be treated. My body cut from my left shoulder should have died instantly. I must be barely alive because of the healing power, but it must have its limits. My body is almost split in two. I'm sure nothing will be able to fix my body now. I can't even tell if I'm still breathing or not. My consciousness is starting to fade. The end is near. But the fortunate thing is about Saber. I have a fatal wound, but it seems Saber is just fatigued. She's unarmed now, and her wounds are completely healed. So even if I retire now, Tsusaka should be able to do something. That sound again. A sound as if bones are creaking and coming from my body. I look down at my wound. There are many swords. What looks like blades of swords are layered on top of each other, crowding together, connect my separated body, making that sound. I feel dizzy. It feels like every bone in my body, every muscle in my body is made out of swords. There's no such thing. It must have been my imagination, as my body is just fine. As proof of that, my separated body is starting to connect, and my cuts are healing quickly. It's more like restoration than healing. This is more creepy than... What are you... I am... It seems I'll be saved, but this is too...
よかった。この分なら死ぬことはなさそうですね、マスター。
I hear Saber's voice by my ear. It's really close by.
いや、それは助かるけど。
Yeah. Trying to finish, I'm assailed by dizziness. Then, my body is enclosed by soft arms.
Saber.
いいえ、私には分かりました。傷が癒されるのは当然です。
I can't stay conscious. Because I produce too much magical energy, my tired mind wants to sleep right now. How strong is she? Saber wraps her arm around me and holds me tight.
やっと気づいた。シローは私の鞘だったのですね。
You... She says so in a deep, seeping voice. The feeling is so comfortable that my remaining consciousness fades away. I'm glad to be saved, and I let my body sleep. But before that, I complained to myself that it would have been more perfect if our positions were reversed. Had to get one last one in there before you lose consciousness, huh? Okay, so that fight took over an hour. So I'm gonna have to sum up the rest of the night real quick if I don't want this to be a three-parter. For that though, there are a few things I still want to say about what we just witnessed. Namely, what the fuck is happening? Amiya is Saber's sheath, which I am terrified about how literal that is, especially considering he is filled with swords, which I'm still processing. Also, how the hell is Gilgamesh supposed to be chaotic good? A lot of rapey vibes for chaotic good. That's just how I feel personally. And I don't even know how we beat him. I mean, I'm not supposed to, but it's a lot of odd things happening in a very short amount of time in that last couple minutes. Anyway, while Amiya is unconscious, we have what the game describes as the final dream of Artoria's past. And this time we are given a more specific look at Artoria's downfall. You see, when she was on expedition, she was betrayed and usurped by one of her own knights, Mordred, who is also her son. Well, actually, according to the description, Mordred is only Artoria's son in name alone. He's actually the son of Morgan, who is Arthur's older sister, who is mad at Artoria for taking the throne despite being younger than Morgan. Oh, and also, Mordred is described as being a knight with no father, like when he's in the knights, so I guess they kept his identity a secret while he was in the Knights of the Round Table? Or, I mean, he's supposed to be the son of Arthur and the son of Morgan, and maybe the son of Arthur thing, like, only being in name alone is because Arthur didn't really raise him or take care of him. I guess theoretically he could be the product of Morgan and Arthur as some sort of you know, I don't like thinking about this anymore. The point is, when Arturia returned from her expedition to take back her throne from her own son, she had to fight her way through her own kingdom that she had spent so much time protecting, taking down several of the knights that she had fought alongside with, who had sided with Mordred, and had the knights that were still siding with her killed by Mordred's side. By the end, Mordred and Arturia landed the final blows on each other, killing them both. It's all very, very depressing. And I still can't stop thinking about the relationship between Arturia, Morgan, and Mordred. I'm gonna have to wait till Apocrypha to get the answers for this, aren't I? And where the fuck is Guinevere? Now, those of you who may have played the remake might think that this is where the night ends. But I have news for you. We in fact have one more scene. A non-voice acted scene, if you catch my drift. Now, the long and short of it is that Amiya wakes up in his room and is being taken care of by Saber. And after making sure he's okay, the two of them rehash their argument from the bridge. Not making any headway in this argument, Amiya decides to take it to another place and starts asking, well, what about us? Aren't we more than master and servant? Is she really okay with just leaving him? Because he, personally, wants to be with her. He wants to do her right now. That's a quote. Mia, not so good on the smooth talk. He wants to because last time was only done out of necessity, and he wants this to be more valuable, more special between the two of them. And if she really doesn't want that kind of relationship with him, she should just tell him. Saber avoids the line of questioning and says, yes, they can do it, but it's only because she just used her noble phantasm and she needs to regain some of her energy. This is clearly just an excuse. So they do it. And it's just as explicit as last time. In fact, maybe even more so. I mean, you get like a real good look at, you know what? Not important. What is important is and a dream is over. Saber is lying there, and I cannot get up from exhaustion. We are collapsed together in the darkness. Our body temperature hits our tired minds. Saber, I call out to the girl laying beside me. Question I asked her before I had sex with her. To find out the reply for me waiting here. Magical energy replenishment has been completed. I can fight as your servant starting tomorrow. Saber. That is it for now, Shiro. My role is to protect you to obtain the Holy Grail. I cannot think about anything else till the battle is over. But is that not right? Because you have chosen to fight to end this war. Her voice echoes through the darkness. I can't argue against her. If I want to do something about us, I have to end this war beforehand. First of all, we have to defeat the man who's after Saber, or I can't protect Saber. But do we have a way to defeat the King of Heroes? We grow quiet and stare at the darkness. How long were we like that? Right when my body wants to take a rest and my eyes start to close. Huh? I feel something on my hand. Saber? Yes, let us think tomorrow, Shiro. We might come up with a good plan tomorrow, and I would like to sleep like this for now. She says so while holding my hand. Yeah, I wanted to do so too. Yes, good night, Shiro. Let us return to our previous selves when we wake up. Close my eyes with her close to me. my last vision of Saber, sees her smiling warmly. I don't care if that was just for this night. Right now, her hand is warm. That is more than enough for me right now, as I fall into a comfortable sleep. I fall asleep, without knowing if we will be able to keep our hands together, even after everything is over. You know, that is a lot of mayonnaise.